Hello everyone and welcome to the first game of the knockout section we'll be checking out. It's Hikaru Nakamura versus Magnus Carlsen, and for those of you who may not know, these are the pairings. So Magnus will face Hikaru, Giri will face Rajabov, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave will face Wesley So, and Fabi will face Ian Nepomniachtchi. And this is a game that, well, ended very abruptly and in a very interesting way. So without further ado, let's check it out and see what's happening here. Already things are getting very, very exciting. So Hikaru with the white pieces opens with e4. We have e5 by Magnus, knight of 3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. So the Ruy Lopez is on the board. We have a6, Morphy's defense, and now bishop to a4. We have knight to f6 and castle. So this is all very standard stuff, offering d4 pawn, so black captures it. We have d4 and now b5, chasing back the bishop. We have bishop to b3 and d5 now. So this is all very, very standard stuff. D captures on e5 and now just bishop to e6. We have knight b to d2 and now knight to c5, going after white's light square bishop. We have c3 and now bishop to e7. We have bishop to c2, not allowing any capture in the future. Also, the bishop will be very useful here. And now d4. So this has all been played before, nothing out of the ordinary. Knight to b3 now, reinforcing the center. Also now challenging the knight here. So here d captures on c3, knight captures, we have bishop captures, and now comes bishop to e4. So attacking this knight here, you can't really capture the, or you could capture the queen, so but then you have to worry about something like captures, although this is not an issue for black. But here Hikaru just plays queen to d7. He defends like this, sorry, Magnus, and now Hikaru captures back with b captures on c3. We have rook to d8, and now queen to c2, and both players have played it very quickly. This has all been played before. We have knight to e7, now remaneuvering the knight, and the bishop to g5 by Hikaru, now clearing the open d file for his rooks. And here there is a game where bishop to d5 was played, but here we have h6, and it is now only as of move 17 that we have a completely new game. So let's see how Hikaru reacts to this h6 move. He starts with rook f to d1. Of course, now you attack the queen, so the queen has to move, and now after queen to c8, we have bishop captures on e7, rook captures on d1 with check by Magnus, rook captures, and now king captures on e7. And this is where things really start to go wrong. Here you have to capture with the bishop and allow this check. Simply bishop to c6, check, king f8, and you continue playing the game. Magnus wanted to avoid all of this. He played king captures on e7, and now he wants to castle artificially with rook to d8. However, here comes knight to d4, and here it's very hard for Magnus to even find the move, because it's a really strong knight. It can always come to c6. If you capture it, then white has a very, very strong center. This is basically lost for black if white starts pushing these pawns. And another thing, if you go rook to d8, then just knight to c6 check wins on the spot, because now the rook is attacked twice. So Magnus really needs a move here. Magnus plays rook to e8. He still wants to castle artificially, but Hikaru does not allow it. He plays bishop to f3. Now if Magnus plays king to f8, now Hikaru could go queen to h7, and now check, then this falls, then the entire position just falls apart. So Magnus first needs to weaken his position by playing g6, and now Hikaru just brings the queen back. Queen d2, nicely centralizing, but again with tempo, as the h6 pawn is under attack. So here Magnus goes bishop captures, c captures, and bishop to g4, saying that, okay, now we trade here and everything's going to be perfectly fine. My idea is that after the bishops are traded, you cannot capture on h6 because your rook on d1 would be hanging. However, here Hikaru had a different idea, and he actually has a completely winning idea. So feel free to pause the video here and win the game for Hikaru while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on not doing anything with the bishop. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's d5. I know you all got that right, because, you know, d6 is coming. And also queen to b4 check is now possible, and that's going to win the bishop. So black can't really waste a move and play something like king to f8 to castle, because this queen check just wins the bishop. Simple as that. So here, after d5, Magnus decided to play bishop captures on f3, but now Hikaru doesn't react to this. He just goes d6 with check, because this was the plan all along. And now you can't go to f8 yet again, because now d7 just wins the game. So Magnus really wants to play king to f8 for the entire game, but Hikaru simply doesn't allow it. So king to d7, and only now g captures on f3, saying that this is not possible, because if you capture this now, then we simply deliver this covered check, and once the king moves, we just deliver another check and pick up the rook. So Magnus is completely helpless here. We have rook to e6 by Magnus, but now comes rook to c1, threatening the c7 pawn. So Magnus pushes it to c5, queen to e3 with a double attack on the pawn, and now c4. But now Hikaru just jumps in with the queen to a7 with check. So not really a lot of squares for the black king. King to e8, but now rook to d1, now threatening again to win the game like this. So queen d7, but now Hikaru just plays queen to a8 with check. Magnus has to block, but now Hikaru just continues collecting pawns. Queen captures on a6, and the situation on the clock isn't that great for Magnus. It's some 3.5 minutes for Hikaru and a minute and a half for Magnus. So here we have king to f8. Instead of this queen captures on a6, I will just show a fun line. d7 wins on the spot, but it's Magnus is like a minute on the clock. You don't really want to waste time calculating this. I'm just going to show it because it's really awesome. Point is that now the king cannot move to f8 because the queen hangs. So you have to play this, and then comes queen to d5. And there's no defense against queen to c5. If you try to hide the king, again, king to f8 is impossible because queen to c5 check, and that's it. King g7, queen to c8, and that's it. There's no defense here. The queen either trades, and then we get another queen, or you move the queen, and then white still gets another queen. So d7 was winning on the spot, but Hikaru doesn't want to waste his time calculating. He just he knows that this is winning. That's just too many pawns for white. So king to f8 by Magnus. Is it possible now? Hikaru says not really. Queen captures on b5, and there's really not much for Magnus to do now. Now Hikaru created another pass pawn. And that's just a really tough position. Queen to g5 with check, king to f1, and now comes rook captures on e5. So Magnus is able to eliminate one of the pawns, but now comes a problem move. Well, not really a problem, because Hikaru played this instantly. He played queen captures on e5, the move from the thumbnail, of course, and now it was in this position on move 36 that Magnus Carlsen resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. If the queen is captured, then Hikaru just continues with d7, and there's no defense against d8. He promotes to a queen, and that's it. There are no tricks, checks, or any sort of sneaky ideas around, so it makes sense to just resign the game. Whatever you play, he just gets another queen, and a queen into the game, and that's it. So yeah, after this beautiful queen captures on e5, Magnus resigned, and game 1 goes to Hikaru. So yeah, hopefully this one will process in time, because I had some problems with the previous video, but what are you gonna do? Not everything can always work properly. So we'll continue showing this match. I would like to thank Prathamesh Mahajan, Caleb Ewing, Michael Volske, Ruben Teverik, and Dane Scott for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing with the coverage of this very nice event, checking up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.